Evening everybody, how you doing? It's Thursday night at the moment. I've just gotten back from work. It's like 7:30 at night. I had hoped to do a video. I'd hoped to get at least one video recorded and posted earlier this week. Oh, I'm just cooking dinner. If you can hear anything in the background, I'm just cooking dinner. If I had hoped to get a video up and recorded earlier this week, but yeah, that obviously just didn't happen. It's getting more and more wintry now. We're well into November now. It's getting more and more wintry, and being in the gas industry, that's when things tend to get a lot busier. Hold on, let me just move this down. There we go. Hopefully that'll stay up there. So, yeah, things are getting a lot busier. I've already done nearly 50 hours this week, and it's only Thursday as yet. So, yeah. You're currently with me in the kitchen while I'm cooking. I say cooking dinner, I'm reheating for the end of yesterday's curry. I figure I might as well eat it rather than let it go to waste. And, yeah. Also, currently with us is a new little kitten. She's just roaming around on the floor. I've got her shut in here at the moment because I don't want to leave her unattended with Gwen, the other cat. Just because I don't quite trust her enough to leave them both alone yet. It's going to take a little while for them to get a bit more used to each other before I can't do that. What are you making noise for, madam? Just meowing away. But yeah, so I had wanted to make a video earlier in the week, and obviously that hasn't happened. I had hoped to start, actually record the next one of my future modification videos, which the plan right now is to do a tattoo one about tattoos and things I'm planning for the future, and where I'm planning on going with that. I don't know whether or not I will include scarification in the same video. It's both of the things are still not happy where this camera is. Both of the things are that's the better, I think. Both of the things are both scarification and tattoos are things I plan on getting quite extensively into further down the line. Yeah, so whether or not I'll make that two separate videos or include it in one, I don't know. I'll have to have a proper little think about it. But something my feet are being attacked now, doing well. What I wanted to talk about was actually my septum again. I seem to have, I've spoken in the past that there seems to be almost different phases of different areas of stretching the septum where different things seem to happen at slightly different sizes. And it feels like I've now gotten into a new area, or a new phase. I know I have mentioned this before. Obviously the first phase being the initial few stretches where it doesn't even really affect the cartilage too much in your nose. The second phase being denting, when the jewellery gets big enough that it starts causing constant pressure on the cartilage in your nose, and it results in a little dent as the cartilage slowly gets eroded away. And the third stage being when the jewellery gets big enough that it rests inside the nostrils. What are you squeaking at, madam? That it rests on the inside of your nostrils and wears tracks on the inside. But it seems like I might have actually found a fourth phase now, which is interesting. It's in the past I've always found as I go up, obviously it gets a little bit tight getting the jewellery through my nostrils, but I've found just constantly take them in now a couple of times a day. Eventually it loosens up after a few weeks or a month, and it becomes not a problem. It becomes a non-issue as the actual nostrils themselves do stretch out. But it seems for whatever reason, now that I'm at 28, it's just not loosening off, and if anything it actually feels like my nostrils are actually getting tighter, which is bizarre. I'm not entirely sure why. The only thing I can think is maybe even now it's still slowly causing a little bit of erosion in the in what tiny bit is left of the cartilage. Or it might be something to do with the way the tip of the nostril actually is being pulled down, that throughout the day is actually causing the nostril to slowly sink back a bit more. It's actually causing the nostrils themselves to slowly sink back a bit more as all this is being pulled down, and that's actually causing my nostrils themselves to actually close up a little bit. Like the overall opening to actually close up a little bit. And as a result, it's actually, not only is it becoming... Let me turn some eggs down, hang on. Not only is it becoming slightly more awkward to get the jewellery in and out, it's actually becoming slightly more painful, particularly on this side, just around the tip here, for whatever bizarre reason. That seems to be where most of the pressure is being put every time I try and take the jewellery out. So it's starting to feel like I'm into a new phase of stretching my septum, where I'm actually going to have to find some way of actively stretching my nostrils rather than it just being a passive thing that happens as it goes up, as the piercing goes up in size. I think I'm actually excuse me. I think I'm actually going to have to find some sort of active method of actually stretching my nostrils themselves out if I do plan on getting my septum much bigger. And I don't plan on going much bigger, as I've said before. The kitten's going a little bit crazy. She's climbing in the washing machine at the moment. But I forgot where I was, I apologise. Yeah, I have a feeling I'm going to have to find some method of actually actively stretching them. Like, I might even have to find some way of actually putting something in my nostrils itself to push them out. But I don't know, I'll have to try and figure something out. I'm not exactly sure what yet. If I do come up with a definitive plan, I'll share it on here, obviously. Because maybe someone else can learn from it, and it'll be beneficial to someone else as well if I figure out exactly what to do. It would be a shame to stop here. I mean, I know 28mm is pretty big. I mean, I know it is a pretty big septum. But I definitely would still like to get a little bit bigger, as I've said before. And I do, even with the thinning issue that I have mentioned in the past, I do think I will be able to get it a little bit bigger. Maybe still to 30, but the way it is at the moment with this issue I'm having is I'm certainly going to have to find some way of actually stretching my actual nostril now. That being said, something else that has crossed my mind is, as I have said before, I'm planning on piercing my actual nostrils in the near future as well. Take my feet again, madam. she's I forget exactly how old she is. I think she's less than 3 months still. Well, I think she's about 3 months. And she's very, very energetic at the moment still. And she's just attacking everything, including my feet. My hands are covered in scratches. I don't know how well you can see where she keeps playing with these. She has a habit of at night time she sleeps on our bed. And no, you're ripping. What are you ripping up? And she sleeps on our bed, and she has a habit of waking up in the middle of the night and just biting my hands while I'm asleep. So I keep waking up with my hands covered in cuts and scratches. Anyway, yeah, as I have mentioned before, I'm planning on in the near future actually getting my nostrils pierced. There's a star there, I don't know where that came from. And it did occur to me that while the original plan has always been to stop stretching my septum before I actually get my nostrils pierced, I'm now starting to revise that plan a little bit. And I do think because in theory, I only need to stretch my nostril piercings so that they are bigger than my actual nostrils themselves, if that makes sense. And I would actually be able to insert the jewellery for my septum in the same way that I have to insert it sideways through my nostrils. I would, in theory, be able to insert the jewellery for my septum sideways in through my nostrils. If that makes sense. I hope I explained that right. So, in theory, like I say, I don't know. Obviously, it's not something I have any experience with. But I should be able to get the actual jewellery sideways through my stretched nostrils before my nostrils themselves are as big as my septum. So I should hopefully, obviously this will be quite a long way down the line. It will still be several years before my nostril piercings are actually bigger than my actual nostrils themselves. I'd guess they'd have to be at least 16 to 18 millimeter. But I imagine, yeah, that's still going to be several years away before they get to that point. But I'd imagine once I reach that point, I would actually be able to continue stretching my septum. And I wouldn't have to worry about my nostrils themselves being the limiting factor, because I'll just be able to put the jewellery through my actual nostril piercings. Hold on. Come here, little Terra. Yeah. There you go. There she is. A little Terra that won't stop chewing my feet. Tiny little kittens. Mwah. I will do a proper video just of her playing or something at some point. A completely non-mod related video about her. Oh, she's so loopy, she's absolutely crazy. But yeah, so I may well eventually continue to stretch my septum up more after I have actually started to stretch my nostril piercings. But yeah, up until that point I'm going to see if I can figure out some way of actually actively stretching my nostrils. I'll have to I don't know, I'll have to walk around doing this all day or something, I don't know. That's probably not what I'm going to be doing. But I'll figure something out, But yeah, I'll, bear with me 2 seconds, I'll take my septum out. It seems to be okay on this side, it's more this side. I'll see if you can see it in the video at all. That's how I take it out. I literally slide it to the side and then I pull it through the nostril there. And it's obviously very tight. Ow. You see, it's excuse me. It's obviously pretty damn tight, as you can see there. And yeah, I tend to get nose goo all over the face as well sometimes. Oh, I made my eyes work a little bit. But yeah, so obviously, as you can see, it's gotten to the point where it's very tight actually pulling it through. So yeah, in theory I'd have to get actual nostril piercings big enough to fit that through sideways. Obviously you wouldn't have to be that far around, it would just have to be, I don't know what that would be, maybe 16 millimeter. Then I could actually just slide it in sideways through my nostrils. But that'll be something further down the line. I've actually got a spot of blood. I have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, I don't know if you can see there. It's actually got a little tiny spot of blood. I have to keep an eye on that. Obviously something's not quite going the way it should there. And I will, lovely. I don't know if you can see that at all. A little spot of blood there. But yeah, so that would be something I have to be cautious of going further. What are you doing, madam? And have to find some way of getting around that. So for the time being, I might literally just only pull it out this side, because it seems to be okay pulling it out that side. But at the same time, I don't want to end up limited in that way and have to, because it's obviously much easier if I can use either nostril. And I don't, if I'm just pulling it in and out of one side all the time, chances are that one side would end up stretching out. And that would, that could itself potentially lead to some weird issues further down the line, having one very stretched out nostril. So that's something I would prefer to avoid. But yeah, anyway, I've been rambling for long enough. Give you another quick look at the kitten. Wait. Aha. And then we'll say goodbye. This is Millie, by the way, that's her name. Anna came up with that name. I named Gwen, and Anne named Millie. Say goodbye, little madams. No, you don't know what you look at. Look over here. Nope, you're going away. What are you doing? Right, I'll let you down. I think you're getting nervous. Okay. Right. I don't know when I will make the next proper video. Just got a message down like that. I don't know when I'll make the next proper video. I'm actually away this weekend, and like I say, work itself is getting quite busy now. But I will try and get something, at least semi-substantial, up in the near future. Get off my foot, you mental. Yeah, she's gone crazy mode again. But, oh. She just hit head. I will try to get something up, and hopefully something a bit more substantial, rather than just a random mumble. And a random meandering rant. This has now been for a quarter of an hour, good God. Yeah, I will say goodbye, and I will get something more substantial, more meaningful up in the near future. So, speak to you all again soon. Try for now. I'm going to go wind this kitten up. See you later.